Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James, joined once again by my co-host Cody. Cody, how are you this fine Saturday afternoon?
Oh, James, I would be better if I was sitting somewhere right now clapping as they ended practice for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but we're not. We're already back home at our own comfortable places of living, and we drove down. We tried to see two Steeler practices, and we saw some rain. A really loud band, good band, just really loud. We met some cool people. We'll get to all that later. But I'm doing well for the situation for being what it is. James, how are you, my guy?
I am also doing well. It's nice to be home, although I also would rather be home later, having had a different experience. But hey, not every day do you get to bond with fellow Steeler fans who are all, surprisingly, a large number of them, very willing to sit there through a pretty vicious storm that was coming through. Not till the guy came over the loudspeaker and said, "Hey, get your butts back to your cars. Practice is canceled." That everyone actually, and they didn't even originally tell us that it was canceled.
No,
they just said lightning has been spotted in the area. Please go back to your vehicles. And only like 2/3 of the crowd emptied. The rest of them were like, "Nope, we're staying."
Nope, we found a couple spots to get some cover.
Yeah. Eventually they called it, and then early this morning, about 9 o'clock, they posted on Facebook and I'm sure other social media as well that today's practice was also going to be canceled. And again, this is just because of the lightning. It's not like they're scared to practice in the rain. They practice in the rain all the time. Yep. But lightning makes it dangerous. So they're not going to put those guys at risk and put them out there when there is a lightning storm in process. So protect the players. We'll see them next year, hopefully, in camp, because most of the rest of the practices are weekdays, and that's when we work. And Cody will be out of town anyway. So
yep, I'll be on vacation. So with that being said, you guys, you will not be getting a new episode of the podcast this upcoming week. This is it right here, due to the fact that I will be in Texas on vacation for a week. So be on the lookout for the next episode, which will probably be airing, let me think, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, or 16th of this month. So keep an eye out for that as well. Unfortunately, I just need some time off, and I'm going to visit some friends. So,
and the nice thing is, little extra weight. But when we talk to you guys next, we'll be talking about the first preseason game.
Let's go.
So that's exciting. Next Saturday, first preseason game for Pittsburgh. Going to be tons to talk about, but we're going to get you up to date on what's going on in camp so far first. And then the big topic today, instead of talking about training camp that we were not able to see, being that it didn't happen 2 days in a row, is going to be our 53-man roster predictions. So our first ones, it'll be before the first preseason game. Kind of exciting, a little bit of foreshadowing and kind of your own opinion a little bit, since we didn't even get to see them, going off other people's words, other reporters and whatnot. But then after the third preseason game, we're going to give you guys another one, our final 53-man roster predictions. But first things first, day 6 of training camp was Tuesday. That was after our last recording, and there were no new injuries.
Woo! That's what we like to hear. No freaking injuries. Let's go.
Yep. Wide receivers, big focus. Coach Frisman Jackson had him on the blocking sled, which our buddy Alex Kazora over at Steelers Depot says he's never seen that before. So I like it, because you did see a few times last season where a running back would actually start to break a run and then a wide receiver wouldn't hold his block. A few times even Chase Claypool was kind of put inside almost like a tight end and would miss his block, and then the whole play got blown up because of it.
Badly.
So it's nice to know that there's a huge focus with the new wide receiver coach on blocking from wide receivers, because truly a lot of big runs, when you see them, you see wide receivers finishing their blocks. Because if that corner gets in there, he might not bring you to the ground, but he's going to slow you down, and then everybody else is going to get there and get you to the ground. So very important that wide receivers block and give good effort. And it looks like we're going to get that out of the crew this year. So very exciting.
Yeah, it's what we need. Also, some new information. New running back. This is, I'm assuming, on day 7. New running back Jeremy McNichols goes to the IR. So the team does wind up signing another running back by the name of Master Teague. His first name is Master. His last name is Teague. He's not a master of Teague, because I don't know what that would mean. But his name is Master Teague. So be on the lookout for, who knows, maybe we get a splash from him You know, we've talked about the running backs on the team and how they haven't been as consistent. Again, offensive line hasn't been there either consistently. But Master Teague, your new fifth, fourth, sixth string running back. I don't know what it is at this point. And then also Deontay Johnson signed a 2-year, $36.71 million extension. So we have him for the next 3 years.
That's great to have him under contract. Real quick on Master Teague, he was out of Ohio State. So it was a real big running back out of Ohio State. Got a lot of yards while he was there. Good production. Deontay Johnson, 2 years, $36.71 million on the extension. We were saying last show, right? Cody went ahead and said, I think that he's going to feel some pressure from all these wide receivers doing so well in practices. George Pickens really standing out. Anthony Miller sounds like he's having a great camp so far. Calvin Austin III, as fast as can be, and nobody on that team is even close to as fast. Puts a little pressure that you might get expendable if you don't sign an extension. Turns out very team friendly. $18 million a year average, well below what DK Metcalf and the other more
Terry
recent
McLaurin.
Samuels, Terry McLaurin. These guys all got a lot more than that. But they also did 3-year deals as to where this deal being only a 2-year extension allows Deontay to hit the market again in a couple of years.
Yep.
So we'll see how it plays out for both teams, but at least we know that we got our number one Pro Bowl wide receiver returning to us and will be around for the next 3 seasons.
Yeah.
It's upcoming in the 2 after it as well. So that's awesome. It's awesome. It's way more team friendly than I thought Pittsburgh would be able to pull off. I said when I was talking numbers, I thought that they would want to be between 18 and 20, but it would take more than that to sign him. And I was very skeptical because I didn't think he'd sign for that. And he did. He signed for what I said Pittsburgh thought they'd want to sign him for. So great. We all come out looking like we actually know what we're talking about on this one, Codes.
We'll take it. We'll take the W. Day 8, which was Thursday, the injury report from that day was offensive tackle Chaz Green and running back Mateo Durant. Both were carted off the field more than likely due to the heat, not because of an actual injury. Probably just don't want them getting hurt on their way out, and they're probably tired, all that kind of stuff. Cam Sutton had a lower body injury and tried to finish practice, but unfortunately was unable to. He got burned by a receiver that drew some questions, like this wasn't a receiver that should burn you, so what the heck, and then he wound up not finishing practice. DeMonte KZ, had a wrist injury. I don't know if he rolled up on it or what, but they wound up wrapping it, and he did finish practice, no issues there. And then Tyson Alualu, James. Great news on this guy.
Big man getting some work in on the side during practice. It's good to see. He had that knee swelling, if you remember, that forced him onto the physically unable to perform list at the beginning of camp. Has not been able to participate in camp thus far. So hearing that he's on the side doing some light work, doing a little bit of workout and getting involved, not in team drills, not in any of that, but just the fact that he's back there, that's huge. So nice to see. Hopefully we get a chance to see him in some preseason action before the regular season hits.
That'd be great.
Fantastic. But yeah, big news on Minkah Fitzpatrick, Cody.
Side note before we go to that, after this practice Thursday, something really important happened. Maybe not for Pittsburgh, but just important in general. There was a football game, James.
I didn't watch it, I'll be honest.
I didn't watch it either, but there was a football game, and that's big news for us football fans. Football is back on TV officially. It's back. I'm done watching soccer, tennis, whatever the heck else is on TV. Football's back, ladies and gentlemen, so be happy and excited about that. But yes, Minkah Fitzpatrick did come off the NFI list and started partial practicing. He wasn't doing full pads or any full contact like that, but he did start getting involved in individual drills and stuff like that, which is great news for our all-pro, I almost said Hall of Fame, all-pro Pro Bowl safety Minkah Fitzpatrick. One day, maybe Hall of Fame. Could be. We'll have to wait and see.
Call a spade a spade. He's on pace for it, right?
Right, he's getting there. And then, obviously, the news with Friday and yesterday and today, both of those practices were canceled again. We were supposed to be at both of them. We technically were at the one until we got absolutely drenched. Me more than James. James had what he thought was a poncho, but turned out being just a simple
rain jacket.
Rain jacket from Hills.
Yeah.
It had a Hills tag on it.
It has a hill sticker on it. That thing's got to be 30 years old. I love it. I don't know how. Something my parents must have given me, I guess, when I was young.
Well, if it is 30 years old already, it's older than me, so we'll keep that in mind.
Hills have been around for a long time.
That's true. We did get the chance to meet some cool people while we were down there. There was a group behind us from Columbus, Ohio. One of them was a Zach Gentry fan, and that's putting it politely. She was more of a fanatic. She also had a poncho that she kept calling a trash bag, but either way, she was uncertain. But I kept reminding her that, no, it's a trash bag. But it was a good time. We had a really fun time. We got to see a cool band play that was exciting and fun to see the interaction they had with everything. There was supposed to be another guy that played from Saddle Up Band, but he unfortunately just had back surgery, so was unable to go. I got the chance to talk to him for a couple minutes. A lot going on there. James, that was fun. And I made this comment before. James and I we haven't officially been to Friday Night Lights practice because I didn't have practice, but we were there and saw the atmosphere. Friday Night Lights practice at the Latrobe Memorial Stadium in greater area Latrobe. And the regular practice at the regular training camp practice that is normally held at the St. Vincent College. And then the kids or the family night that they typically hold at Heinz Field. All three of these we've now been to. And all of them have different feels, which is actually very unique. It's something interesting that I didn't expect. So if you get the chance to attend any of these, try to. They're fun. They're different. They're intriguing. This one I felt would have had probably even the coolest atmosphere as far as player to fan ratio, because again, you're at like a high school stadium almost. You're so close to the players, it's not even funny. So again, I'm very sad we didn't get to see them actually play, but it was a very, very, very fun time.
Awesome atmosphere. Highly recommended, honestly. They have a lot for kids to do beforehand. They got a climbing wall, all kinds of fun activities. And there were a bunch of food trucks there, too. So you go and grab some grub from the food trucks. Lots of barbecue ones. They were very delicious.
Ooh, yeah, they were.
We had a little bit before we went in, that's for sure. So cool story. Fun people around. Nice talking to everybody. Connie Kostelic-Gordish. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name, Connie. Appreciate you following and joining us on the Facebook family.
Yeah, and we got
your Zach Gentry fans.
Yep,
good people.
We also got to see an old work buddy of ours, more old work buddy of yours. I worked with him, but we weren't buddies back then or anything. But yeah, we got to see an old guy from Best Buy, the Best Buy days where James and I met.
That's right, Jeff Ratajewski and his son Jacob. Jacob's a diehard Steeler fan, just like us. Jeff somehow ended up a Niners fan. I don't know. That's a misstep in life.
He was wearing the right jersey. That's all that matters.
Good guy too. Like Jeff's a good guy. I don't know how he's a Niners fan, but whatever. That's all right.
I have a buddy who's a pretty good guy as well, who's also a Niners fan. So maybe we all deserve one good friend that's a Niners fan.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe. Fair, right? Maybe. I don't know. Someone's got to root for him. It's just not us.
What everyone deserves, Cody, I'll tell you what, is our preseason 53-man roster prediction. So let's not make them wait any longer. Let's jump into this. And how about you start with your quarterbacks, then I'll say mine, and we'll go right down the list that way. And anything noteworthy or any of those back of the roster tougher decisions, we'll talk about those guys.
Okay.
Don't really need to talk about Kenny Pickett. We both know he's going to make the team.
Yeah. So quarterback, I got three guys making the team: Trubisky, Rudolph, and Pickett. I don't want Rudolph to make the team. I want Rudolph to get traded. I just don't see it happening any other way right now, barring an injury to a starting quarterback on another team. That's what I got.
I'm in the same boat. I would love for Mason Rudolph to get traded, get some draft picks back for him. But I got a feeling the way things are playing out right now, there's no way they're going to get rid of him because he seems to be the most steady and comfortable of the three of them. And you don't want to just ship that out before the season starts in case the crap really hits the fan. Running backs, I only have three: Najee Harris, Benny Snell, Anthony McFarland. I'm not going any of the long shot guys on this. What about you?
I also have three. I have Harris, I have Snell, and I have Warren beating out McFarland Jr. I just see that they want to try something different. McFarland and Bell are both nearing the end of their contracts, and you haven't seen a whole lot from them. And I think McFarland being the one that's gotten the least amount of opportunities, and Jaylen Warren coming in and being productive at camp might bump him off the roster spot. So those are my top three. Fullback, I got Derek Watt. That's it.
Me too. It's up to you on how you classify Connor Hayward. I threw him in with a tight end group, making that a group of three. Obviously, Pat Fryermuth and Zach Gentry being locks. I'm throwing Connor Hayward. Seems like he's having a really nice camp, and I do believe there's some potential there with him replacing Derek Watt after this upcoming season as the fullback of the future. So you got to keep him on the team, or somebody else might scoop him up.
Yep, I'm right there with you on the tight ends. Nothing different. Wide receiver wise, what do you got?
I have 6 I kept. Obviously, the first 4 I think are non-negotiables with Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, George Pickens, and Calvin Austin III. None of those guys are going anywhere unless Calvin Austin III has a really, really bad preseason.
Yep.
But I don't think even if he does, they'll cut him. I also basically consider Gunnar Olszewski a lock because of the fact that he's a Pro Bowl return man. He'll be the starting punt returner, the starting kick returner. So I'm putting him in as the 5th, the number 6. Probably not a huge surprise for a lot of folks. If you've been paying attention, you've been hearing that it sounds like Anthony Miller's having a real nice preseason. His experience in a former second-round pick of the Chicago Bears, he sounds like he's in absolutely incredible shape, can play all 3 of the wide receiver positions. I'm putting him in there as my number 6 because I do believe technically when the season starts, he's going to be the number 4 wide receiver. He'll be above Calvin Austin III and above Gunnar Olszewski because he's a more accomplished route runner and more experienced at this stage. What about you, Cody? Who do you have?
James, I'm going to move on to offensive line because I got nothing different there. That's exactly the same thing, exactly the same reasoning. That's what I got. We're going to go offensive tackles first. I got Dan Moore Jr., Joe Hag, Chukwuekorfor, and somebody not on the roster. I only have us keeping 4 tackles.
Oh, there you go with that again.
And someone not on the roster right now. I think that they're going to bring somebody in, whether it be somebody else cuts, or if there's a veteran out there that remains unsigned or a free agent. I think that's what's going to happen. So I have us keeping 4, and one of which is not on the team.
I'm also at 4 with Dan Moore Jr., Chukwuekorfor, and Joe Hag being the common ones. The 4th one I'm going with is Trent Scott. I do believe the connection that he has with offensive line coach Pat Meyer and his experience being with him previously is going to carry over. There's some real up and down with him. Some reports of him playing well, some reports of him not playing as well. But when Chukwuekorfor missed 1 practice, he split time with Joe Hag starting at right tackle. That's very noteworthy. So these preseason games are going to be very important to see what Trent Scott has. If he looks decent against number 2 defensive ends, I think he makes the team.
Yep. What do you got? Interior offensive line.
Okay, starting off with the starters and then the backups. I'm putting Kevin Dotson, Mason Cole, James Daniels. Those are the locks to me starting. I know it's technically a competition between Dotson and Kevin Green, but I don't see much of a chance of Green winning. With that being said, I'm keeping 5 interior guys, J.C. Hassenauer and Kendrick Green as the backups. Not that I think Kendrick Green is one of the 5 best interior offensive linemen, because he may not be, but I don't see them moving on from a 3rd-round pick. He really needs to have a very solid preseason, or this could be the last season with him. If he looks out of place at guard also, you give up on him and don't bring him back year 3. But 5 interior guys for me.
Okay, I got us keeping 6. I got the same 5 that you have. There's no different explanation that I need to have there. And then I got us keeping John LeGlue because LeGlue did come in and play tackle last year, guard for a little bit last year, and played it fairly well. I think he has the flexibility that Pittsburgh's looking for in the offensive line. That, again, if someone goes down at multiple positions, you have someone that can fill in fairly well. So there's our 3 differences we have on the offensive side of the ball. Now, moving to the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to do D-line all as a whole. I have us keeping 7 defensive linemen.
Yes, and just for the people scoring at home, Cody has 1 more on offense than I do.
1 more player, 3 differences total.
1 more. Yep.
7 defensive linemen: Cameron Hayward, Tyson Alualu, Larry Ogunjobi. Those guys are the main locks. It's for their positions. And then I also have us keeping Isaiah Loudermilk, Montravius Adams, DeMarvin Leal, and Chris Wormley.
100% on this. As much as you know me, I want to put Henry Mondo on there. I don't see room for him this year. Not unless you were to have lost like 40 pounds and played outside linebacker. Kind of looks like he's doing a lot of nose tackle this year. Pictures I've seen, he looks beefed up a little bit more. So I'm excited to see him with a little bit of extra muscle, see how he plays at nose tackle. But I don't think it's the right position for him. I think he's a more natural pass rusher in a 4-3 or in a nickel type situation, but he just has a tough time holding up against the run. And you can't cut any of those other guys. That's the way I look at it. So the only way this changes in my book is if one of these guys can't go. If like Tyson Alualu can't go, then you keep him those 6, and then maybe somebody else sneaks on. But I'm with you, same 7 there. Outside linebackers, where I went next, I'm only keeping 4 of them with TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Derek Tuska, and Jannard Avery. I really want to put Skipper on there, but I can't.
Well, James, I'm right there with you on that one. Nothing different. Got the same 4 guys. We didn't plan this before. I think both of us are just thinking less outside the box this year because it's just that kind of year where I don't think Pittsburgh's going to surprise us. I know.
We go outside the box and then those guys don't make it. So maybe it's a little more chalk this year for us.
Maybe it is. This is where we'll probably be different. I have us keeping 4 middle linebackers. I have Miles Jack, Robert Spillane, Devin Bush, and Buddy Johnson, the 4 interior guys. I'm assuming you have somebody else, maybe a little bit more recent signing staying on the team as well.
Yeah, I'm actually going to differ on this one. I really wanted to keep Buddy Johnson, but I'm going a different direction. I'm actually keeping 5, and Buddy Johnson's not one of the 5.
Okay.
UG3 is going to be one of them for me. Sounds like he's having a pretty nice camp. And honestly, his athleticism is probably going to push him a little bit higher than some of the other guys. And then Mark Robinson, I'm keeping over Buddy Johnson. Doing that again just because he's splashing so much this preseason. If he has a couple nice preseason games, it's not going to be, oh, he's a 7th round pick, nobody will scoop him. Somebody will if he has good tape out there. And I think he's going to shine in the preseason and make himself uncuttable. Buddy Johnson, I think you can probably sneak onto the practice squad, even though he was a former 4th round pick.
Got it. Cornerbacks, what you got?
Depends on how you classify some of these guys.
Just go corners. Just go corners.
I'm calling them 4 corners. Akello Witherspoon, Cam Sutton, and Levi Wallace. My 4th one going to be James Pierre. He's got some higher potential than some of the other guys on there. And I think they keep him just because of his experience. He's a really good gunner. And once in a while shows up pretty good on defense. Other times not so much, but that's where we're at in corners these days. The other guys I'm classifying in the safety position. You'll understand that when we get there. But what do you got?
So I got us keeping 5 corners. And some of these guys you might have under different things, whatever. Yep. I have Levi Wallace, Akello Witherspoon, Cam Sutton. Those 3 I think are the easy locks. And then I have Arthur Maulette making the team. And then I also have Chris Steele making the team.
Gotcha. Can't blame me for that one bit. I personally hope that Chris Steele makes it over James Pierre because I think the possibility of some development there being a really nice athleticism. And Arthur Maulette, I won't be surprised one bit if he makes the team. I'm just kind of hoping that they move on from him because he's almost 30 years old. And I'm hoping that we see enough from these other guys that can play in the slot. Moving to safety, I'm keeping 5. Again, some of these guys might be classified as corner. Minka and Terrell Edmonds, obviously. The Monty KZ sounds like he's having a tremendous preseason. I can't see him not making the team. Trey Norwood, I also feel there's got to be room for him on the roster. Kind of a slot corner, kind of a backup safety. He's kind of doing what Cam Sutton did early in his career, but playing a little bit more safety. He's so versatile. I see him almost as a lock. And then Miles Killebrew as my 5th. Again, if I had to choose, I would say he's probably the least talented coverage-wise out of these guys, but so incredibly talented on special teams, having 2 blocked punts last year, assuming he can recover from this pectoral injury, which has cost him his entire preseason so far. They did say in practice the other day he was doing these arm circle deals, which if your pectoral's messed up, you ain't going to do that. So that's a good sign. I think we'll see him, if not in this first preseason game, probably in the second one. But I got him as my 5th safety. How many you got? Who you got?
I got 4 safeties. I got the first 4 you talked about. Nothing different there. I do believe that it's going to be hard. It was hard for me not to include Miles Killebrew with the fact that he punted those, or he blocked those 2 punts last year. That's a huge feat for any defensive player. That's not a normal thing to block 1 punt in a season, let alone 2. So that's massive for him. So I only have us keeping 4 safeties. And then special teams, Boswell, Presley Harvin, and Christian Kuntz as the long snapper. Those are the three I got.
That's where we differ, my friend. I'm kidding. We have the same three.
I knew we did.
So only a couple of differences there. It looks like I kept one more on defense than you did on offense. Yeah, very fun. It's going to be interesting to see how this shapes out.
And again, I personally believe things would have been different had we seen them live at practice. I think I would have probably put down a different guy here or there, just from seeing them and being excited for something that I saw. Again, this is probably as basic as we could have gone, I think, really. And it's not because we don't want to get excited for the underdog. Jaylen Warren to me has had so much positive input coming out of camp from him. That I do believe there's a potential for him knocking off Anthony McFarland Jr., which is why I put him down. So again, very interesting to see how this preseason plays out. And again, first preseason game is a week from today. Next Saturday, we play our first preseason game. So keep your eyes open and peeled for that. We're excited for sure.
Absolutely. So look forward to talking to you folks. We'll have some updates for you in the week. Check out our Facebook page. I'm sure we'll be putting some stuff there. Don't forget those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. We're itching to get some new ones. It's been a minute. So help us out. Throw that 5-star podcast or that 5-star review on Apple Podcast, even Facebook, any platform you download. If they give you the ability to rate it, hook us up with a 5-star. If it's something outside of the normal ones that we ask for and you do it, just take a screenshot, send it to us on Facebook, Twitter, wherever, Instagram. We will give you a shout out on the next show, guaranteed.
Absolutely. So again, thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Subscribe and ring the bell. It's free. And make sure you guys don't just click the like button or click the follow button. Interact with us. Let us know where you're coming from, where you're listening from, where you're watching from. Any way that you guys interact with us, we will be more than happy to talk about on the podcast. Again, thank you guys so much. And until next time, this is your host, James and Cody, signing off.
Peace.